Guys, welcome to Counterfire. My name is Connor, and today we're going to be talking about what happens if Trump wins, which I know is scary to think about, but for some of you, you actually might be excited. I will be trying to do daily episodes for you in which I speak extemporaneously about politics because, frankly, there are a lot of people who have succeeded with that model, and I would like to join their ranks. So, Kamala has a good shot at winning. Let's just be honest about that. And while I'm not happy about a healthy chunk of her rhetoric and a healthy chunk of her policies, I am happy to have a presidential candidate who is under the age of 80 and who can speak in coherent sentences and who doesn't bloviate about crowd sizes and all the other obnoxious things that Trump does. And so while, yes, there are actually quite a lot of things that I am opposed to when it comes to Kamala Harris, I would prefer a competent Democrat over someone who doesn't believe in the government at all, basically. And just to stretch my anti-democratic bona fides while still potentially supporting a Democratic candidate, I'm going to point out a few things that actually do bug me. So, when it comes to guns, the fact that they're still focusing on an assault weapons ban, the fact that they're still focusing on legislation that's unpopular with moderates is really frustrating to me. We have 10,000 million other problems to deal with besides assault weapons bans. On the statistical whole, they don't affect most people any year that it even exists, even when we have mass shootings. And so as a result, it feels like a virtue signal that actually isn't going to accomplish much. It's wildly frustrating that something that I am so passionate about, they are so fixated on, even though that legislation will do absolutely nothing in order to fix the problem. One of the other things that bugs me is some clips that are being circulated from her that I'm not sure the exact timeline, but she's talking about holding social media programs or social media companies accountable. Well, hey, listen, last time I checked, the federal government shouldn't be regulating the speech and concepts and ideas and ideologies that their citizens are talking about. Now, if they want to put out some information saying, hey, fascism and authoritarian communism are being actively spread on American social media through certain foreign nationals who are trying to sow divisiveness in our country. Awesome. Go ahead and tell the American people that in press conferences. If you want to say, hey, there are chaos agents who actually like to tell you that there is an Armageddon impending at all times, that way you will buy gold and dried food and guns rather than focusing on taking care of your community and the small daily things that you could do in order to improve your life. I would love it if the federal government came out and said that. However, what they shouldn't be in the business of doing is saying we should be regulating that behavior or we should be pushing social media companies to throttle those behaviors. That should be up to the social media companies to decide what they want to do and what's profitable for them. And it's not up to the federal government to police the thoughts of their constituency. Cultural encouragement is fine, but legislation or federal pressuring of social media companies, I think goes against the spirit of the First Amendment, if not the law or the legality of the First Amendment. And I would like the Democrats to start doing that. It gets creepy, it gets weird, it gets authoritarian, it gets Orwellian, and frankly, the Democrat Party could do less with that. Another point that I deem not fitting with my values is the nonsensical economic policies, particularly when it comes to supply and demand, when it comes to the housing market in particular. So I think that incentivizing small business is great, cool, love it. $50,000 tax incentives for new businesses, new small businesses, cool, whatever. That's the business's money in the run up anyways, so they should be able to keep more of their money. When it comes to the housing market, though, I understand that a tax credit in order to help first-time home buyers is cool, that we're trying to get homes into actual families and homeowners. That's good. What's not good is incentivizing demand when the market is already white hot. Don't do that. Don't incentivize more demand when demand is already through the roof. Work on supply. And I understand that Kamala said that she was going to build 3 million new units, but if we're taking, and I'm not saying that we should be taking, but if we are actively taking 500,000 to 1 million people from the border every single year, then 3 million is, I don't have a non-vulgar way to say this, spit in the ocean. It's a very small plan to take care of a very serious problem. And so I would like to see more adult, more aggressive, more thought out policies from the Democrats But I also understand that I'm not their typical constituency. So all of that being said, I actually understand that Trump could still win. Okay? 2016 was a massive upset. A lot of people were counting on Hillary Clinton in order to win. And in 2016, I remember waking up in the middle of the night being told by my wife and some of our roommates and friends that Donald Trump had won, and they were very upset. Like, some of them were on the verge of tears, and I found that funny because, federal government doesn't necessarily affect you on a day-to-day basis. And, let's face it, there were some pretty funny memes in the 2016 election. That's still a real possibility this time around. And to steelman why that's still a possibility, I was in Milwaukee and I was in rural Wisconsin for a pro-Democrat canvassing event. And when I went to the rally, the Trump rally, in order to help them, kind of cover the rally and see what's going on, I could kind of see the pattern, and people in the comments can correct me if I'm wrong. The pattern that I saw was human beings who could live and die without ever seeing a federal official. These were folks in a flyover state that was probably largely forgotten. They might get some subsidies, the bigger, richer ones might get some agricultural subsidies, but people would wake up, drink their coffee, go do their jobs, go home without ever seeing a government official except for local representatives, a mayor, and local cops. And so I think the question for those folks is, well, what does the federal government do for me? Because all they see of it, they don't see Social Security, they don't see retirement, they don't see subsidization for immigrants, they don't see international trade, they don't see any of that. What they see is somebody taking 15 to 40% of their check, depending on how rich they are, and then spending it on everything but them. And they have sons and daughters who are nationalists. They're people who are proud of the United States of America, who want to serve their communities, and they see people poo-pooing, I guess is the least offensive way that I can say that, deriding, criticizing, angrily criticizing law enforcement, first responders, and the military, and then kind of laughing when those people get hurt or killed in service to the country. Now, obviously, these are the people who are laughing, the people who don't take the service to the country seriously. These are coming from far left dirtbags on Twitter, and they're also coming from DC snobs who look down on, these flyover state people. But I could see how that would give you a bitter taste of screw these people. You're reliant on us for money. You're reliant on us for support. You're reliant on us for our votes. And yet we live and die without seeing you. You send our sons and daughters off to foreign wars, and you tax the crap out of us, and we don't see much in return. I get it. Now, I would have to do a 10-page thesis paper on how international commerce and global trade is good for the average American, but I could also see how, not just Wisconsin, but Michigan and in the Rust Belt, how some of these things have been gutted by international trade. And so, yeah, they have cheaper things down at the local Walmart, but their grandparents and uncles and granduncles lost high-paying industrial manufacturing jobs, and now they're stuck working retail and restaurant and remote work in order to try to make ends meet. So I get it. I understand. I understand the anger. I understand the anti-federal resentment. I understand how Trump feels like a middle finger to that world order and how that might feel like a rational response. I don't particularly think it's a rational response. I don't think Trump cares about the Republic. I think Trump doesn't necessarily care about these people, and I don't think that he's a good steward of the American Republic. But I at least understand the anger with which these people are going to potentially vote for Trump. So let's say that Trump wins, okay? All of the criticisms of the Democrats actually stick. All of my understanding and empathy of Republicans actually plays through. Trump wins. Well, what now? Well, we already saw that. So for 4 years, the institutions that already exist, some people call them the deep state, will try to hold Trump accountable and will try to limit his more extreme policies. So if that's deporting 20 million people from the United States of America by having federal law enforcement prioritize deportation, then they will try to reasonably work around that. The good news is we're already withdrawn from a majority of foreign wars, so he doesn't have much to withdraw from. He just has to not totally botch Ukraine and Israel. And while I do sincerely worry about under-supporting Ukraine militarily while they're in a tenuous position and over-supporting Israel where we just give them carte blanche to do whatever the heck they want, I do think that there probably are enough intelligent people in the State Department and the Department of Defense to make sure that it's not an utter global catastrophe. And I'm praying that that's correct. And so we got to wait it out. And what waiting it out means, God forbid that Trump wins, is that politics is not a single election, okay? Pushing for Kamala to win over Trump and then election day rolls around and then Kamala wins, we don't go home after that, okay? Trump wins and then the deep state or the state moderates his policies. We don't go home after that, okay? At least not me, not a politically minded individual. What I started this channel for, and what I hope to continue in the future, is to passionately care about power and who wields it, to speak and criticize about policy and highfalutin ideological concepts that make our world work, and try to incentivize people to believe in the ideologies and philosophies that I think make the world a better place, and also to encourage people to be stewards of their community, to care about themselves, to take care of themselves, to take care of their families, to care about their families, to care about their communities, to take care of their communities, and to extend that all the way out to the state, to the federal government, and eventually the world. And so, you know, if Trump wins, there could be catastrophic incidents. We will push on. If Trump loses, there could still be quite a few bad things that happen during a Democratic administration. And guess what we do? We keep pushing to make the world a better place. It's not a one election thing. So that's kind of my thoughts. So if you're a Democrat who's enthusiastic about Kamala, go ahead and leave some comments down below. Tell me about why you're excited. If you're a Trump person who thinks that I'm totally wrong and you actually resonate with some of the things I said, or if you think it's for completely different reasons, then please tell me down in the comments below. If you're in the Orlando area and you're trying to survive the hurricane and you're excited about the hurricane just like I am, in order to actually live some stressful but fun, exciting times in the Central Florida region in order to survive, you know, go ahead and drop me a comment as well, or hit me up on Discord if you need any help. And we're going to try to do these shorter, more fun, more punchy 10-minute rants and videos. That way we can get out more content, have more serious conversations, and talk about what makes our world tick, rather than just trying to wait for the next stream or create the perfect essay video. And I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you have a great day, and Godspeed. Bye for now.